My friends from coast to coast and around the globe, this is the Ieden Wall Show. I'm Ieden Wall, and I'm so happy to have you joining me once again. Not just happy, I'm so excited. In fact, I think it's downright bizarre how excited I get to do these shows. After so many years, I still get so excited. No caffeine necessary. An amazing broadcast for you today lined up. And I wanted to mention an idea to you before we get going here. I was at Kabbalah study this week, and my rabbi mentioned a fascinating idea to me, a concept. He brought up the idea of a spiritual, he called it a cosmic dinner table. And what this means is, just the way you have a dinner table down here on earth, and you look around and you see your children and your parents and your grandparents, and you look around the table and you see these faces, and no matter what your relationship is currently with these people, there's no denying that there's such a close spiritual connection to you and these other people sitting around the table. In a similar way, we have a cosmic dinner table. There are souls that we keep bumping into time and time again in this lifetime and perhaps in many lifetimes. And so that explains the reason why you could be at a laundromat or the grocery store or at a library and you see a complete stranger and you think to yourself, this person is not a stranger. Their nuances and their subtleties, their mannerisms, their energy just seems so eerily familiar. And perhaps it's because they're not strangers. They're part of your cosmic dinner table. And they're part of your cosmic dinner table because you need to keep bumping into these souls to grow, evolve, and to rectify and ultimately to perfect your own soul. If why we're here is to ultimately perfect our soul, which in the Jewish faith we certainly believe to be the case. What a wonderful idea. The idea of a cosmic dinner table. So today, I will welcome to my cosmic dinner table, Leslie Roberts. Many of you know the award-winning news anchor, radio and TV personality, Leslie Roberts. But today, I promise you, my friends, you'll hear him like you've never heard him before. You're listening to the Ieden Wall Show. We'll be right back right after this. Thanks for being here. All right, as promised, on the phone from our nation's capital is Leslie Roberts, radio and TV personality. Leslie, how you doing, man? What's going on in Ottawa? Is it snowing there? Because
yeah, but that's par for the course in the city. Yeah, I know it's unusual for people who may be in other parts of Ontario. It's cold. There is a little bit of snow falling after last weekend was so great. However, because of what I do for a living, I know the forecast. By the end of the week, it should be back up in double digits. So this is just Mother Nature reminding us that we live in Canada.
So where do we start here? That is the question. Where do you think the Leslie Roberts story would start? By the way, if you were writing the narrative, and which you might be called upon to do one day very soon, I'm sure the major publishers are knocking down your door. Now, where would your story start, Leslie?
Well, I don't know if that's true, but I would probably say, because of what led up to it, I would say last October 11th, which was National Coming Out Day, and at the age of 57, I went public with being a gay man, which was a huge turning point professionally, something I couldn't do when I initially came out at age 26. I was discouraged that my career would end, and I wasn't ready personally either. I knew that, and there were a lot of things that you go through in your life, and until you are fully accepting of who you are, then you can go about living your life with a facade, and that was my case, both professionally and personally. I never hid it, but I never lived my true calling or my true self. So I can now say I do.
Okay, so let's, you started there, so I'll just take off your lead there and build. Because it was an incredible day for you in your life. And we'll spend a few minutes here. And it was October 11th, I believe.
Yeah.
October 11th, and over a year ago. And this was instrumental in your life, emotionally, and spiritually, I would say. Do you think spiritually too? For sure, right?
Yeah. In fact, the spirituality of my the makeup of who I am that led to that day, I think, having gone through some tough times, as we all do. You learn from them, hopefully, and your skill set and your armor, kind of develops, and you don't give a damn what anyone else thinks eventually. But as a young person, you do, of course.
Yeah.
And so, I'd say that spiritually for sure. That probably is a good way to describe the most important part of why I decided to come out.
For the sake of clarity here, you were never secretive about your sexual orientation. It's not that you were secretive, it's just that you never came out publicly. So a good portion of your audience, it's fair to say, did not know about it.
There was a joke that the suburban housewives had no idea. That was the joke in the business, right? Because in the 905, they figured, it was different than being in the 416. I never thought that the people, my bosses, gave the 905 enough credit for that. But that was the reason why I didn't, because my bosses didn't feel that it would necessarily be accepting and could ultimately affect the ratings.
So let me ask you this. How has your life changed since you openly announced on TV and radio over a year ago that you were a gay man?
I would say it's much more grounded, authentic. I mean, I'm going to coin all those Oprah phrases, but they actually apply. I think that I don't fear judgment of others. I mean, there's nothing left to judge. Everybody knows, anyone who knows and cares and would judge knows everything that, when I walked into a room, I would wonder if somebody knew me from the television or because they thought I was gay. And that, kind of plays with your mind. I don't worry anymore.
The phraseology was very thoughtful. You said, I don't want to be the gay anchorman. I want to be the anchorman who just happens to be gay. And then you went on to say that you couldn't betray your own soul any longer. So you did this in large measure as a token of love towards your own soul. And
100%.
Are words to that effect. And it really struck me because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there seems to be so much anguish emotionally, physically, with people in the world because they are betraying their own souls. They're living lives that are not aligned with their souls. And so when you said that, it struck a chord. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
I'm trying to do that question justice. Because
it's okay. Take your time. We got time.
Yeah, it's the most important question I've ever been asked, actually. I would say we all achieve peace, happiness, and to figure out why we're here. But without knowing who you are, I don't think you can get to that level. So I'm now at a level where I have to figure out why I'm here. But I know who I am.
So you know who you are, and now you're on to why you are here.
Correct. Does that make sense?
It really makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm just wondering, do you have any inklings? I believe you're right. That will naturally crystallize in your mind as you grow. But you must have some inklings, some rumblings in there.
Yeah, a couple. I would say to be a good father.
Mm-hmm.
I would say to be a good person. And to be a role model for change.
That's wonderful. And now you just said something interesting. You said you think one of the reasons you're here traversing planet Earth is to be a good father and to be a good human being. So I'm wondering, Les, what is a good father to you? Hey, you didn't expect you didn't expect the law balls, did you? Come on.
You know why? Oh, and may he rest in peace. My father struggled with his demons,
mm-hmm.
alcohol being one of them, and probably others that I never got past because as a child of an alcoholic, you don't get very deep. So I don't know if I have the answer to that. It's something I'm learning and growing in. But right now, it's guiding. I've become a calm person, and I feel as if anything life throws at me right now, short of sickness, I can probably handle. And I want to teach that skill to my daughter.
I hate to dissect your parents because they gave you so many wonderful things, but I'm just wondering what it was that they didn't give you, that if you had your way and you could do it all over again, you would say, you know what, Dad, I wish you would have given me this. Or Mom, I wish you would have given me this.
Validation. probably is the one that comes to mind, because you need to validate your kid to be who they are and not try and tell them how they're supposed to be. And I think that's how I got caught.
Mm-hmm.
They thought it was this is how you create a happy life. But everybody has their own journey, and that's something that I try to impress on my daughter all the time. And I think as she more and more adapts to that, she realizes it, and she's in a really good place, and I'm very proud of that, because a lot of the work that she's done. And I would say over the years I've got validation through first therapists, God love them, self-help books, meditation courses, guided meditation is something I still do today, and I recommend to everybody. It really opens your heart and your mind. And it's a lot of people say, I got to quiet my mind, but you also have to open your heart at the same time, or else it's not effective. It's short-term gain. For long-term gain, you got to do more work than just meditate for 20 minutes a day or whatever. So I think that's, to answer your question, I've sort of a number of different places and resources that I went to try and figure out as each of my struggles came in my life.
And how many years were you at Global, by the way?
Almost 15.
Okay, so would you say that was the springboard in your career, in a sense? That's where most viewers came to know you, and where you gained your reputation nationally? Yeah,
nationally I did. I had great opportunities to while I was at Global, not only in Toronto, but we had a tremendous team over the years, great people, and I also had opportunities to fill in for the national anchors, Kevin Newman, Donna Friesen over the years, and so I would say from a career standpoint, that's if you measure success by number of eyeballs, then I'd say yeah.
And so your tenure at Global unfortunately ended on kind of an awkward note, and I'm not sure what you're comfortable talking about, but the truth is, we all drop the ball. We're human beings. We make mistakes. It doesn't matter your profile, how prominent you are, and it doesn't matter how anonymous you are. We make mistakes. What did you learn from that particular mistake that you will do differently in the future?
I'm trying to figure out what's the most important lesson from all of this. Well, I know who my friends are.
Oh, man.
I know who I thought my friends were, what they really are.
Yep.
And that to me is the biggest lesson. That is, choose your friends wisely. And I think when you pull back and you go through some deep moments of reflection, it gives you greater focus and better eyes to be able to see what people really are. And that's the gift for me now, among others things that I've received, is that I can see someone's genuine intentions. And intention is always the most important thing.
Do you ever sit up at night and think to yourself, because you mentioned your grandfather and then your father, and so you're third generation media guy, and consciously and subconsciously, that's a lot of pressure. And you're really good at what you do. You've won many awards, lots of accolades, but do you ever think to yourself, I don't know if I really found my calling. Like, this was enjoyable. It was a means to an end. I had fun, but I don't know if I found my calling. I don't know if this is my calling. Do you ever feel that way?
It's not my calling. If I think it's my calling, that's my ego speaking. No, I'm still in search of my calling, and I know it's not television or radio. Fatherhood is one. Probably, helping, being empathetic of others, helping others. That's the true calling.
Because I've watched you over the years, and I don't know you very well, but you do have these qualities. You have empathy. You have genuine compassion. You have the ability to articulate yourself in a very cogent way. There's so many things you could do with this in the world. It's actually mind-boggling.
You sound like you're pitching to be my personal life coach.
Ieden Wall, life coach to the celebrities.
Well, first of all, I'm not a celebrity. I would say, we all have limited audiences, and if we can maximize our goodness and helping others, whether you're doing it for your immediate circle of 4, or if you're doing it for 4,000 or 4 million or whatever, everybody has their number, and every life you touch is just as important. And I don't think it's quantity necessarily; it's quality.
Absolutely true. Well said. And I just wanted to end the interview and mention a few things to you. When you came out over a year ago and you announced publicly that you were a gay man and you made it known, you mentioned that you were making the choice to live an authentic life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you realize, but you, not just did you inspire people, you emboldened so many people that go well beyond sexual orientation. I think of, Leslie, I think of the Jewish boy who believes in Jesus, and he lives his whole life in fear that if he comes out and claims this, that his life will be that much more difficult. I think of, conversely, the Christian girl who's at home who thinks that her heart is more in line with Judaism, but she never comes out because she thinks her life will be that much more difficult by doing so. I think about the young man in Rosedale who is earmarked to go into his family business, and he eventually says to himself, no, to his mom and dad, no, that's not me. I'm not a businessman. I'm an artist. I'm a sculptor. I'm a painter. And I'm not willing to betray who I really am for you or anybody else. And so when you came out, you not only inspired people, but you emboldened people from every walk of life. And you might think it's courageous, but it's so much more than that, Leslie. And I thank you so much for coming on my show and for sharing your thoughts with me. And I hope we can do this again one day. It was fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for your kind words. I just think everybody has to live their own path, and if people benefit from it as a result, in my case, because I have a soapbox, then I hope it helps others. But it's more about just everybody living their path, being authentic, and then that's your calling. And by the way, if I could just say, your tribute to your bubby ticked all the boxes, and you were lucky to have her in your life. And I've actually shared that video with a number of friends of mine and family members, and has become a topic of conversation. In fact, I sent it to my entire family for tomorrow night's Zoom call. So we'll be talking about your bubby and her story tomorrow night with my family. Thanks for doing that.
Wow. Referring to my tribute to my grandmother, Bella Wall. Yeah, it was called My Booby and Me. And I'm amazed that you found that particular video out of all of my videos. But perhaps it was, you found it for a reason, I guess.
Well, I'm kind of an honorary Jew. So I love hearing stories of what the previous generations have gone through and how they found peace. And she did so beautifully.
Okay, my friend. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you down the road.
Thanks, Ieden.
Take care. That's Leslie Roberts, award-winning anchor and TV and radio personality, located in Ottawa right now. We'll be right back right after this. My friends, we end every program with a segment called The Wisdom of Wall. And this is where I read a poem from my first book entitled The Wisdom of Wall. And it's always a pleasure for me to do so. And today I'm going to read a poem called Big Break. And the motivation for this poem, I remember one night I was reflecting and I was thinking, when you're struggling at something and you're struggling for long enough at it, whatever pursuit or endeavor you're struggling at, it can become very tormenting and excruciatingly painful. But there's something even worse than struggling, and that is fledgling, because when you're struggling and you see no signs of hope or potential or very little success, at least you're not confused and you don't feel like you're being teased or misled by the universe. But when you're fledgling and you see signs of hope and signs of potential and you experience successes that indicate that you're very close to what you want, that feeling of being so close yet so far away, it offers its own unique kind of torment. And so that led me to write Big Break. Rob me a little bit of wisdom music here. Thank you. My climax is collecting dust. My paranoia is starting to trust. Court's been adjourned for 20 years. The jury's got nothing left to discuss. Do I get my big break, or am I a bust? The poet said unrewarded genius is a cliche. The lifeguard said there's no sharks left in the bay. The angel said every dream lives to see another day. Now which dude deserves my faith? Which clown's holding the ace? None of them seem to have a trustworthy face. I heard the prosecutor wants to close my case. You gotta tell me, man, did I make the cut? You gotta tell me, man, did I have the guts? Did I score big in the final round? Do I get to wear the golden crown? The angels say the song of victory's blaring, but I can't hear a sound. Did the dragon I slayed get up again? I'm starting to think he might be a friend. How many deaths do I need to cheat? How many ghosts do I need to defeat? How much pride do I need to eat? My climax is collecting dust. My paranoia is starting to trust. Court's been adjourned for 20 years. The jury's got nothing left to discuss. So do I get my big break, or am I a bust? You've been listening to the Ieden Wall Show. As always, my friends, the pleasure is all mine.